Phil has got something to say about COVID and how people dealt with it.
When this COVID, it was pretty frenetic for everybody. In the beginning, nobody knew.
Okay. In the beginning, nobody knew what was going on. I suppose if you want to call Anthony Fauci a nobody, that is.
But you know what? As much as Jimmy Dore, and he gives Anthony Fauci Jimmy Dore gives everybody the business, right? But the thing is, like, I just seen Jimmy Dore on another podcast. I watched Duran, and oh my God, like he was for like 10 minutes straight, didn't take a breather, just demolishing the media, the military industrial complex, just everything. It was awesome. I might clip it and share some of that with you. But anyway, what I am going to add on for Jimmy Dore, I understand for Jimmy Dore, he goes straight for Anthony Fauci. But I'm going to tell you that I'm also going for Dr. Phil. Let's listen to what he's saying. But it kills me that Dr. Phil is going to rip the COVID experts when he knew better anyway.
That is certainly your prerogative, but how do we know he knew what was going? He knew what was going on right up until the point where everything started to go south for him. Then everybody was like, "We don't know anything about this."
Yeah, lots of people knew. They didn't want to get in trouble,
right.
Or they got kicked out of their jobs, or they got.
That's right.
Nobody knew at his office.
A lot of people knew, and most of the people who knew and who actually had the courage to say something got censored, discredited, and smeared in the corporate press that was owned by Big Pharma.
And I don't really want to go all the way into the necessarily like the topic of coof. I still won't say that word on YouTube. I am triggered by that word on this platform for another reason, but I don't want to get into that topic necessarily. Actually, I'm triggered by the whole topic. Background, I am a nurse, and it was a crime to humanity, straight up and down, the way we told people to stay home. Okay. But anyway, but what he's saying is true. People were censored. People were forget censored, Joe. They were demoralized. They were demonized. If you said, hey, wait a second, I don't think it's going the way they're saying it's going. Oh my God. You were the worst person that ever walked on the face of the planet. And that, my friends, is when I said, what in the hell is going on here? Like I did, because I was like, but wait a second. Like, this isn't how we deal with things in the medical industry. Like in real life, like I wouldn't use a ventilator at this time, and I don't want to get into all that. I have to be careful. I'm working really hard on this channel. And by the way, thank you for watching. Thank you for coming through. If you like the topics that I have been covering, the discussions, the dialogue and everything, please don't forget to hit the like button. Please subscribe, okay, because I really enjoy making these videos. I do. And don't forget to hit the notification bell, because you won't get notified when I put out another video. I don't know why it does that. You just won't get notified unless you hit the bell. Thank you so much. But yeah, that's when I started to say, what's going on around here? And I think that anybody who's watching this episode probably had the same feeling in 2020 as well. Drop a comment below and let me know if that's what it was for you.
Told us not to do
Including
our own
me.
research.
They got some guy made a whole video about me on COVID.
Who?
How did that Sean guy?
Oh yeah.
How the guy doesn't show his face?
The
How does
MI6
that
cutout?
the MI6 cutout? Exactly.
Yeah.
How does that video hold up today? How does that video hold up?
Well, he never shows his fucking face. so I guess it's
Doesn't
fine.
hold up. And it got boosted by the Google algorithm, so it got like 700,000 views, and it was an hour-long smear piece about me.
Yeah.
And again,
I bet you those aren't real.
And again, I'm going to tell you guys that I don't get boosted by the Google algorithm. So just don't forget to hit the like button, because people like me who keep it real, we don't get boosted. But, that's what happened, though. If you say what the establishment wants you to say, they will make sure you get heard. This is a problem, too. So for me, that's what we're talking about here. Like, we're going to walk away from the, not look at the medical aspect. I'm not going to go into, immune systems and lungs and all that. This is not that channel. But for me, just watching the the dissenting voices get shut down. Shut it down. They know too much, right? Okay.
Views, and also bread tubes done. It's for
And then we found out that the MI6 was paying people on BreadTube to go after and smear people who were speaking out and telling the truth about COVID and the vaccines.
And I don't think Sean knew that he was getting that from them. Why would they have to let him in on it? He's a
I have to be careful because Jimmy Dore is probably protected to talk about this. So let's go ahead and, but yeah, I mean, and things like that still happen too, by the way. I want you to know that things like that still happen where they, where, you know, campaigns, you know, why don't we get some influencer campaigns going on? Okay.
Back to this.
What was going on. And when they said, we're going to take a time out here, we're going to ask everybody to really stay home, withdraw, shut the door, and that's going to slow the roll.
Remember, it was 2 weeks to stop the spread. I mean, to flatten the curve.
Yeah, flatten the curve.
Flatten the curve. We just want to flatten the curve so we don't overwhelm our emergency rooms. We're just going to flatten the curve. It turned into 2 years. And it.
So, like, he's right, you know, and I will tell you again from behind the scenes, the minute I heard 2 weeks, I was talking to doctors like, guys, that sounds weird. And they're like, no, because we want to slow down the emergency rooms. I was like, still doesn't sound right to me. Like I said, in fact, I think we're going to make things stronger if we do that. And they said, no, that's not how it goes. And everybody wanted to be a hero. So logic really went out the window. I was so embarrassed of the medical community around that time. I really was. And I am a nurse. But what they were showing y'all mainstream about the medical community with people with rubber band like abrasions on their face because they were wearing their N95s and they were taking pictures of them and putting them in like Vogue magazine or whatever. I don't know, New York Times or whatever, to praise the nurses, hero nurses. Thank you for coming in. You're the hero. I was like, please, I'm here to do a job and give the best quality of care possible to the people who actually aren't getting attention paid to them, which was the geriatric population, right? But everybody wanted to be, not everybody, right? Like the nurses who weren't on TV definitely were like, they were asking questions and stuff and still doing their thing. But for the most part, I ran into so many new experts. Oh my God. Everybody was an expert. And then they looked at you when you asked a question that at any other time would be normal. They looked at you and said, what's wrong with you? We're saving lives here. What are you talking about? Everybody gets a ventilator. See, there I go again.
It was always a bad idea. It was always a bad idea to do lockdowns.
Wait, won't someone think of the emergency rooms? What about piece of shit country I live in?
Yeah,
that they didn't immediately put all the money that they sent to fucking Ukraine into emergency rooms.
Right.
That's going to slow this thing down. You remember that? And then all of a sudden, a few weeks turn into months and months turn into 2 years. You expect there will be a readiness plan that takes into account all the collateral damage that can come from doing something like that. And then you start seeing all of these problems and you hear people say, well, we did the best we could with what we knew. No, they did not. They knew better. And if they didn't know better, they damn well should have known better. That's what they're paid to do.
Save your claps, okay? Because I'm going to break down Dr. Phil right now. I'm going to break down. Matter of fact, let me see what Jimmy Dore says, but hold on a second.
Crazy, is he genuinely upset about this?
It seems like he's genuinely upset about this. And I think the reason why is because he said some shit and he caught a lot of shit just like we did.
Yeah.
So when he noticed the lying that was happening, he said something and people came at him and tried to discredit him, the Jimmy Kimmels of the world.
Yeah.
And we'll stop there, right? Because Jimmy Dore is right. Now, I'm going to break it fully down what happened, because this happened to Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz at the same time. When this thing started, people started to do, like doctors started to do what they normally do, which is treat symptoms while we're finding the baseline cause of what's going on. And I'm not going to go into a big science rant, okay? And what happened was they realized that they were dealing with a certain kind of respiratory virus that was kind of hardening the lungs, right? And they realized that there was a certain kind of medicine that could work with that, and that if you gave it early enough, it could, it definitely could change the progression, right? Especially for older people, right? And so Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz, both of them, they talked about that, right? And their donors, I mean, I'm pretty sure after this show, there's some sort of pharmaceutical commercial that'll come on. Somebody came and told them, you better retract that. You better just stop acting like you're taking it, not serious. And they demoralized Dr. Phil. Like they made him feel like he was wrong for talking about reality and telling people don't panic. And especially as it's like a psych doctor, like he was trying to tell you, like, don't panic. We're giving certain drugs for this, and we're treating symptoms, and things look like they could go good. And they said, oh, you minimize what was going on, right? And so because of that, he had to shut up. And then I remember he had to come back and apologize. I remember very clear, because I felt like I was in a Twilight Zone. So when I would hear somebody sounding like how I do, I would be like, oh God, thank God there's somebody, who's not just fear mongering, okay, doesn't have a death ticker going on the screen. And then guy comes back and he says, I'm sorry. Whoopsie daisy. I shouldn't have took it so lightly. Yes, everybody gets scared, basically, right? And now, you waited for the experts, and you talking about they should have known better. They should have had a plan, and they should have. No, you knew better too. And you should have stood up and said, no, I will not apologize. And I know for the person listening, right? You're probably like, come on, Casey. Shit. You're probably like, come on. All that, like, what are you saying? He's gonna lose his job. Like, is it even worth it? He would lose his job, his livelihood, or whatever. After a while, like, I have to believe that the investments that you put in, because you're not just rich off the show. I have to imagine that you have property or something. Like, please, people who get rich off of having a platform, do something else on the side too. So when they come for you, then you still have your farm or something else. They'll come for that too, but you're kind of just one step ahead of them, right? The thing is, as a medical professional, you can't, in good conscience, act like you don't know what you know. I don't know how they did that. So that's why, for me, when I see Dr. Phil, getting all tough, like they should have, no, you should have, you did know, and they told you to say sorry, and you did. And I just don't know how you take an oath as a medical professional and then you act like everything is okay, and that everything you learned is not real anymore. And that was a lot of what was going on back then. Everybody was an expert and everybody was righteous. It was the great, like, don't even think, I know I'm not the same anymore, right? I know I'm not the same. And I thank God that I'm able to challenge that change into something positive of, people need to get all the information they can get. Informed consent is a real thing, and I'm here for it. And that's why I do this. That's why I love making these videos. That's why I love talking about things, having topics, and just bringing awareness to certain things, because knowledge is power, straight up. And I do believe that knowledge is power. Thank you for watching.